Okay, so I'm back. Yes, I know it has been a hot minute. Um, yeah, there's just been a lot going on recently. Yeah, I've been super busy with school. I haven't been doing well mentally. I've been going to a lot of therapy and stuff. It's been rough. It's been a rough few weeks. It's been a rough middle of the semester. I mean, obviously, this is around the time that we'd be having like a midterm break usually, so everyone's kind of getting to the point where we're just all exhausted. Yeah, but I got to see my parents over the weekend, so that was really good. It was really fun. We ate a lot of food, hiked, well, went on a supposed hike. We ended up just like walking on the side of a highway and like crossing a river where like there was literally no bridge or anything. So that was fun. Yeah, so I had a really good weekend with them. But now I'm like dying because of homework, and I switched to like a new medication recently, and so the side effects have been killing me, but it's starting to get better today. Like Monday and Tuesday were awful. So I'm hoping that things will start like really getting better sometime soon. So yeah, but who knows, cuz I'm still like changing doses and whatever. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how like yeah, we'll see. Okay. So today I'm going to be talking about why I'm a psych major and just kind of basic psychology stuff that like really interests me. Yeah, I'm mainly going to be talking about why I chose psychology as my major rather than other things, because there are a lot of things I'm interested in, but ultimately I've decided that psychology is definitely like the place that I feel like I fit in the most. So, oh shoot. Okay. I have to go back now. I forgot that I decided I wanted to do an interesting thing of the week. So my such interesting thing of the podcast, because obviously this is not a weekly thing because I just can't keep up with that. But so interesting thing of today's podcast is that today I learned how to do a significance test for linear regression in my stats class. For any of you stats people out there, you know what I'm talking about. Actually, no, you probably don't, because it wasn't on the 2020 AP. But yeah, it's been fun. I mean, it's very easy. I don't know why they didn't just put it on the AP. But yeah, so that's the interesting thing that I have learned this week. Yeah. I don't think anyone else is going to find that interesting except me, but that's fine. Okay, so back to me talking about being a psych major. If you can't tell, I'm very excited about this because this is like, obviously this is why I'm majoring in it, because it gets me this excited. But okay, so initially I kind of just was like, oh, it's like a psych major, like I'll just settle with this because there's no creative writing major, there's no I kind of knew there was no real way I could be a music major, like, because you have to specialize in like two instruments. I'm like, bro, the only thing I can do is sing. Like, I can play ukulele, but I've never been in a band before, and I kind of am bad at reading music. Like, I just didn't feel qualified to be a music major, and also I was like, do I really, like, what am I gonna do with a music major? Like, I don't want to be a music teacher. I do not want to get stuck teaching little kids how to play recorder. Like, that's just not my thing. Yeah, and I was like, I couldn't teach high schoolers either. Like, I'm not interested in music education. And what else do you do with a music major other than either becoming a teacher or becoming like an actual professional musician? But I don't play any instruments, and I don't think I'm good enough of a singer to do it. So what the heck am I supposed to do? Like, I can't, like, I'm not qualified to do really anything with music. So that was why music was eliminated. Obviously, creative writing wasn't even an option. Dance, again, what was I going to do with that? I didn't want to run a dance studio. And I'm not going to like be on Broadway or in the Boston Ballet, even though that would be absolutely incredible. I would love that. But it's at this point, it's kind of not impractical. That's not the word I'm looking for. It's like not impossible either. That's not the word. I don't know. It's unlikely. It's improbable. That's the word I was looking for. It's improbable that I would become a professional dancer just because I didn't have enough training as a kid. Like, everyone's like, oh, you're such a good dancer. I'm like, I taught myself, so I'm not technically skilled enough, like, in form and whatever to actually become, like, a ballerina, which would be amazing, and it has been, like, my dream literally since childhood. And I've never, like, no matter how much I'm like, oh my gosh, realistically, it's just not possible. Like, my brain will not give up that dream of being a professional dancer. And who knows, maybe, like, that's gonna be where God leads me, but I have no idea. Like, truly no idea right now. So I'm pursuing psychology because I have personally struggled with mental health issues for a while, and I really want to be able to help other people. Like, I've always loved giving advice to people and just having really, like, deep, intense conversations. I just, like, the first thing I want to ask people when I meet them is, okay, tell me your whole life story. Like, that's the first thing I want to know about people is, I don't care. Like, okay, cool. Like, you have 2 siblings. Sure, great. Like, do you get along with them? Do you have any deep, like, hidden trauma that you don't know about? Like, that's what I want to know about people. And it sounds weird, but, like, that's what therapists do. They talk through everything in people's lives, and, like, that's just amazing and fun. For me, like, helping people to realize how they can, like, not necessarily improve themselves, but helping people realize how they can help themselves. It's just so cool. Because it's like, oh my gosh, you did it. I'm so proud of you. Like, I love having that feeling for other people. Like, I really struggle to do that with myself. So maybe it's just kind of me, like, projecting what I want for myself on other people. But, yeah, so that's definitely something, like, my own mental health struggles have definitely impacted my, like, decision to become a psychology major. I also the human mind is just so cool. So cool. Like, oh my gosh. I'm literally smiling so hard right now. My face hurts. Yeah, I just think it's so cool how everyone has, like, we all have brains, but they all work so differently, but they're all still ultimately composed of the same, like, building blocks. Like, everyone has neurons, everyone has, like, certain hormones and neurotransmitters and stuff, and it's just so cool how we're all the same, but we're all different. I don't know, I just like seeing, like, the big picture of life, I guess. I don't know, like, in the grand scheme of things, we're all just humans, and we're all the same, and ultimately we're all pieces of skin running off of electrical currents, which is so cool. Oh my gosh, yeah, can you tell that I'm, like, literally so happy about this? Okay, sorry, I have to text my dad for a second. Hold on. Okay. Sorry, I just had to send my dad something. Anyway, I don't even know where I was. Gosh. Basically, I love psychology. Actually, I found this really cool quote from this website. And it says, psychology is the kind of major you go into if you want to feel like you can change the world, even if it's just for 1 or 2 clients. And that is absolutely true. I want, like, even if I can't change the whole world, which I would love, but I don't know how, but I want to be able to be the person who, at the end of someone's life, they'll be like, this person helped me so much through life. Like, that's who I want to be. And even if it's not through, like, actually being a therapist, because as I'll talk about later, I don't really want to be a therapist, but even if it's just through, like, being there for people, even if it's, like, just, like, even if the only lives that I impact are the people directly around me, I want to have that impact. Like, that's, I don't know, that has just always felt like the purpose of my life is to help other people, which is great. Yeah, and even if, like, my version of helping other people is not, like, oh, going on, like, mission trips and stuff, which, like, I grew up as a missionary kid, so, like, obviously I know missions is important and God calls different people to different things. But, like, for me, I see my mission field as somewhere in the northeastern United States doing some sort of psychology stuff. So, yeah, I just think I'm just really grateful that this is what God seems to have called me to. I mean, I might be wrong. Like, obviously, God may have other plans for me, but I think as of right now, this is the clearest thing He's showed me, is that He gave me empathy for others for a reason, and I'm going to use it. So, yeah. So I'm going to go through some questions from, like, from Psychology Today. It's this, like, psychology website magazine thing. But I'm going to go through some questions. They're, like, I don't remember what the, like, article was specifically called. I think it said, like, something like questions to ask, like, a psychology major after they graduate or something. I don't know. It's like questions to ask someone who majored in psychology, but usually it's, like, more of, like, a job interview kind of questions. I don't know. But I'm going to go through those questions, or at least some of them, and just kind of answer them to kind of show you guys, I guess, a little bit about why I'm studying psychology and what I'm most interested in psychology. And, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. This episode is really just me flexing my major and talking about something that I find interesting, which is the reason why I started this podcast. I wanted to talk about things that I think are cool. So, too bad for you if you don't like psychology. Okay. So question 1, why did you initially select psychology, and what courses or knowledge first intrigued you? So I think my mom says I discovered the Myers-Briggs type indicator in 8th grade. I don't remember it being in 8th grade. I remember 9th grade, me being obsessed with it. But apparently 8th grade was when I first... Oh my gosh, the train is so loud. Anyway, apparently MBTI is what, like, first got me interested in psychology. 8th grade was also the year I started going to therapy. So, I don't know, I think that kind of helped me realize, oh, I actually really like talking through things with other people, even if, like, yeah. So, I don't know, I think that's probably the start of it. But, like, I've always been, like, very much I like one-on-one conversations. I am very interested in how other people's brains work, like, things like that. So, I think that's when I first started liking psychology. Yeah, and then sometime in high school, I was like, oh my gosh, people's, like, behavioral, like, people's behavior and people's actions are, like, oh, it's just so interesting to me. So I kind of started being like, oh, psychology is a field where I could do that. And then I took AP Psychology senior year, and that was super fun. I loved it. It was super easy, but I really liked it. It was very cool to be able to, like, kind of get the basics and kind of be like, oh, this is a field that I like, or this is a field that I don't like. Yeah, because there's so many different kinds of psychology that you don't have to, like, if you go into, like, a psychology major, you're going to take, like, a million different classes, all that are under the, like, heading of psychology, but none of them are the same. And so, like, I don't know, I feel like college, like, being in a psychology major is going to be kind of me figuring out what kind of psychology do I want to do, like, when I go for my master's and then eventually my doctorate. Yeah. So I think I chose psychology because it's something that interests me. And yeah, and the first thing that about psychology that interested me was personality tests because they're very fun and very interesting. Question 2. Once you got into the major, how did your opinion of psychology evolve? And did you find your interest shifting? So I'm going to say that when I kind of started the major was when I started AP Psychology, because technically that's Psych 101. So when I started taking it, I was like, oh my gosh, all of this is, like, interesting and stuff, but when are we getting to abnormal psychology? When are we getting to clinical psychology? And I was just, like, sitting there, I'm like, are you kidding me? Can we not talk about perception? Can we not talk about developmental psychology? All I want to talk about is mental illness. Like, which is, like, of course you need to have the basics because obviously it's the basics. Everything builds on it. But I was so upset. I was like, are you kidding me? It's at the end of the book and it's not on the AP exam for 2020. Like, I was so mad about it. I was like, that's the only reason I even took this course. Yeah. And so, like, as I went through the course, I was like, oh my gosh, just let me get to abnormal psychology. Like, that was all I wanted. I did for a while get very interested in, like, the, like, biological part of it. And then I was like, no, I can't do this anymore. My brain is, like, struggling to understand how this works. And, like, I do, like, understand it. And, like, of course it is important to have, like, that, like, understanding of, like, how the brain actually works. But that's not what I want to do. I want to work with people, but I also don't want to work with people because it's very emotionally draining. And of course you, like, learn techniques to, like, you distance yourself from the client while at the same time, like, maintaining empathy. But yeah, it's just like I want to work to help people and, like, observe behavior, but I don't want to necessarily give them therapy. I don't know. I still am trying to figure out what I want to do. I also realized through AP Psychology that I do not like child psychology. Kids, sorry, but stay away. Like, I can't, like, okay, kids can be cute and stuff, but I struggle to, like, have conversations with, like, I mean, like, even my brother who's 9, like, I struggle to have conversations with him because he doesn't think abstractly yet. He's not at the stage in life where he's able to really have, like, non-concrete thoughts. So, I mean, yeah. So, I don't know. Abstract thinking is most of my life. And so I feel like I would struggle to do any kind of psychology that doesn't involve people who can use abstract thinking. And so, yeah, so I've realized that I think I definitely want to work with adolescents and, like, young adults. So, like, high school, college kids, because they need help. And I'm saying that as one of them. Yeah, I also just, like, throughout AP Psych and AP Stats, I realized I love statistics. Oh my gosh, I love statistics. All the people in my AP Stats class who are listening to this are like, oh my gosh, we know you like stats. Yeah, but so I love stats so much. Oh my gosh, I'm in a statistics for behavioral sciences class this semester. Oh my gosh, I get so hype in that class. Like, today I got hype over t-tests and regression lines and confidence intervals. Like, I just got so hype. Oh my word. So yeah, so I'm thinking that I should go into some sort of research psychology, because the math part of it, like, not the math part of it, but like the statistical like studies and stuff are just so cool. Yeah, so question 3, what key aspects of psychology most interest you, and is there a field of research that interests you or intrigues you? I love stats, obviously, as I said. And I really like studying like mental illnesses and like clinical psychology and different like mental conditions. Just very cool. I would like to help, like, I don't really know even what kind of psychology this would be defined as. It's like, because it's like the medical part of it, like, so I want to help work on medications, but I also want to be able to, like, I don't know, like, directly work with the client and like see results. I don't know how to do that. I should probably talk to someone in the psychology department and be like, hey, what kind of psychology is this? But yeah, I read a study. Oh my gosh, I'm about to go off. Recently I read a study about anxiety, like heightened anxiety within the first few weeks of taking antidepressants. And I read about like how they're trying to work on a drug that helps to like kind of get you through the first few weeks of that really high anxiety, so that way you can continue taking the antidepressant, and that way like starting antidepressants isn't so bad. And I would love to work on like the medication that helps to like reduce that anxiety, because I've felt that. I'm currently going through that. It's not fun. Yeah, and so just being able to help other people that like that are in a situation that I understand would be so fun. I know I'm saying all this is fun. Don't get me wrong. Nothing about a mental illness is fun, but studying them, although it's like really heartbreaking to see like all the things that people go through, it is absolutely fascinating to me. So, yeah. Question 4, what interesting courses have you taken outside psychology, and can you connect the dots between what you learned in those courses and what you know about psychology? So, I'm planning on minoring in dance, I think. I'm not positive yet, but for me, dance is like very much like an emotional release, and I can definitely like, I mean, because like I've talked with like my therapist before about how dance is like something that's very important to me, because it's a way that I express myself. And so like I think that like obviously there's music therapy and there's art therapy and there's dance therapy, and so I think that I could become a dance therapist. Dance therapists are not very common, but I feel like they should be more common, because let me tell you, dance is so like emotionally relieving. Like, it really is. Just being able to physically move your body, especially for like, I feel like non-athletic people, like everyone's all like, oh, just go for a run or whatever. I have asthma, girl. I'm not gonna run. So yeah, so for me, like, dance is just one of those ways, especially if you put on a song that means a lot to you and then you just dance, or like if you're feeling like sad, put on like a wild song and just go crazy. Oh my gosh. Like, it's so worth it to me. And I guess that's just because like I also love dance, so obviously it's probably different for people who aren't like absolutely obsessed with dance. But yeah, I think dance is a really good way of expressing yourself, and so being a dance therapist would be super cool, or even just being a therapist for dancers, because there is a lot of like mental health. There are a lot of mental health struggles within like the dance community. I mean, especially like with eating disorders and like just body image issues and stuff, because dance is very like body centric. So yeah, I would also love to do that. A course that I'm taking this semester is philosophy, which has been crazy, combining it with psychology. Like, sometimes a professor will just bring in psychology principles and then he'll look at me because he knows I'm a psych major and he'll be like, you know what I'm talking about. I'll be like, yeah, I'm sorry, sir. I know what you're talking about, though. Like, yeah, but philosophy, I actually considered double majoring in philosophy and psychology, and I'm really glad I didn't, because that class makes me feel small brain. Like, so small brain. Like, nucleus sized brain, electron sized brain, smaller than that. Like, I feel like the smallest brain in that class. But then occasionally I'll get something right and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I am so big brain. So yeah. Yeah. And then, like, history class, I'm in US history this semester. And it has been super interesting. Because I've always loved history. And then my professor this semester is amazing. He sings Hamilton and stuff. So obviously he's a really cool teacher, and I've always had cool US history teachers and cool, like, history teachers in general. So obviously that makes it more fun, but history is super cool because it's human behavior, but it's it's the span of human behavior over all of time, like all recorded time. So that's just so cool to me, is like the way that I'm like, oh my gosh, these people, y'all are dumb. You guys are so dumb. Like, that's, yeah, me getting mad at historical figures and being like, why? Why would you do that? There are so many better ways you could have done that. Like, yeah, so that's just, oh my gosh, very funny. How mad I get sometimes in history classes. But then, like, it's also really funny how hype I get in history classes. Like, we read Common Sense by Thomas Paine. Yes, cue the Hamilton lyrics. But oh my gosh, I got so hyped. I was like, yes, sir, you had it correct. You are right. Like, it's just so cool how history can apply these days. But I cannot be a history major because, okay, I'm not gonna go off about what you could do with a history major, because our history professor literally, like, gave us a whole, like, lecture on this. She was just like, oh yeah, I, like, helped, like, in administration of a business because I knew how to work with people, because I learned how I don't know. It's very cool how, like, she was able to use, like, what she had learned about human interaction from history in order to, like, work in a business, which is really awesome. But anyway, yeah, I don't really want to become a history professor, and I do not want to work in a business. So that's why I'm not a history major. Question 5. Where have you excelled in your major? What has come naturally for you? Statistics. That's really it. What the heck? Oh, something just made, like, a crinkly sound, and then I realized it was because I kicked a plastic bag under my desk. Okay. Something that's come naturally to me is definitely statistics. Absolutely. It's really easy. I understand it right away. Same with, like, I don't know. I can't really say because I haven't taken that many, like, classes yet. I mean, obviously this is my first semester of college. But I'd say that's probably where I've done the best in my major so far. I think, like, statistics and experimental psychology, I think, are going to be the things that I'm best at. Question 6. How far do you want to go academically? Are you interested in obtaining a master's or doctoral degree in psychology? Yes, definitely. I will probably get a PhD because that's what you usually need to have in order to do research at universities. I think I'm probably going to become like a professor of psychology, so that way I can, have a little, oh my gosh, I almost said a side hustle. No side hustling in psychology. No, so I'll like do my research as well as teach like a few classes or whatever. Because I think teaching students who really want to be there, especially if it's like if it's like a senior level class, these are the people who want to be psychology majors and they want to be there and they're going to grad school and stuff, and that's just really cool. Teaching people who really enjoy, like, having people who really want to listen to you is great. Basically. Yeah, so I'll probably end up getting a PhD. Yeah. I don't think I might get a counseling license. I still don't know exactly what I want to do. But yeah. So I'll either end up with a PhD and a counseling license or just a PhD. Question 7. What parts of your major have you not enjoyed? Oh my gosh. Biology, not great. Like, my parents are going to come after me because they're going to be like, you like science though. Yes, I do like science. I really do. But it's not the part that I want to study for the rest of my life. Like, it's cool, but it's not that cool to me. And my mom's going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you don't find it cool. Yeah, no, I don't. Like, it's cool, but it's not what I could see myself studying for however many more years I'm going to be doing school. Yeah, it kind of slaps. It's very fun, but at the same time, I'm not, like, the physical body, I transcend the physical body. Oh my gosh, I sound so dumb. No, but I'd rather do stuff that has to do with things that aren't physically there, like emotions, which are physically there, but at the same time they aren't. Very weird. Yeah, subjective stuff. That's what's cool to me. And then obviously, as I said earlier, I don't love developmental psychology because oh my gosh, I cannot speak. I'd really rather work with like people whose brains are fully developed. I mean, and obviously young adults and adolescents do not have fully developed brains, but at least they can have abstract thought and stuff. And that's, like, hypothetical questions are pretty much my entire life. So I like being able to talk with people who understand the need to see a what if and the need to look further than what's directly in front of you. Yeah. Okay. So this episode is kind of short, but I have to go to lunch with someone soon. Yeah. I don't really have anything else I want to say because I finished answering the questions. So, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed me going off about my major and getting very hype about it because I definitely enjoyed it. So too bad for you. Because if you thought I wasn't going to enjoy myself when talking about one of my favorite things in the world, then you would be dead wrong. So, yeah. I hope you enjoyed this. I really do. And if you didn't, then tell me it was bad. Go on, I dare you. I'll change my major. You'll watch me. No, I'm kidding. I won't change my major. I'm too far into this psychology stuff to change my major. And I like helping people too much to change to anything else except maybe social work. So yeah. Watch me change my major next semester or something. After saying this, I'm gonna regret this. But yeah, so yeah, have a good day or night or whenever you're listening to this. Tell people about this podcast. I hate saying that because it's like, it's not that good, But if you know someone who likes psychology, make them listen to this, because this will either make them be like, oh my gosh, psych majors are crazy, I'm not doing this. Or this will make them be like, heck yeah, let me join the psych major army. So yeah, so share this with someone who you think will enjoy it, or who you think will just laugh at me the whole time and think I'm stupid, because that's reasonable too. So yeah, thank you so much for listening. This time, okay, last time I said I was gonna put my Instagram stuff in the description, and I didn't, because I'm dumb and I forgot. But yeah, so this time I will do that. Yeah, that's all I have to say. So yeah, I will talk to you next time. Yeah. I'm so bad at ending podcasts. Yeah. Okay. Bye, guys.